Hi, it's Ricky of Moshville Times here once again. Now, tonight I'm delighted to be joined by Surrey multi-genre metal band Gutlocker. I say multi-genre because I can't quite pigeonhole this band into a particular genre. I think they're just quite happy if you call them metal, and they play metal very loud. So tonight we've got vocalist Craig and we've got drummer Dean. So how are you guys doing? Have you been lucky enough to escape all this COVID shite and all the rest of it?
Oh, touch of wood. Yeah, I haven't got it yet, so I hope I keep it that way forever.
Do you know, it's quite funny. You usually say touch hairy wood, but you can't quite say that, Craig. So, so what about yourself, Dean? You've been lucky enough to escape it as well?
Yeah, so far it seems like everybody around me's had it at some point, but I touch wood also seem to have escaped it, and I'm quite grateful of that.
Good stuff, good stuff. Well, listen, we're obviously not here to talk about COVID then. We're here to talk about Gutlocker. So already this year has been a busy year for you guys. You've released 2 singles, namely SFS and To Be Alive. So how did it feel to finally get the music out there for the masses to hear then?
A huge sigh of relief.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been sitting on it a little while, and so to finally get it out there, yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Are the songs fairly new, or has this been in the process for like months and months and it's just been delayed, or are they just fairly recent?
I say months and months because we actually recorded the album. It's October, wasn't it, Dean? We actually started recording it. And I think it was a few months prior to that. I think a good 80% of the music was written over the year. Credit to Dean, Pete and Ben. They really sort of, because I was in Wales at the time, so obviously we had COVID restrictions, so they really sort of knuckled in and put loads of music together, and just left it for me to write all the lyrics down.
Yeah. So how have the reactions for the singles been so far? Are you quite chuffed?
Yeah, it really seems to be going down quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah. To Be Alive has gone up a lot of views on it was Friday. It was just shooting up, and no complaints here. I was well happy with it. I'm not sure what happened, but everyone just got all over it.
Good stuff, good stuff. But these are obviously preludes to the album To Be Alive, to be released on July the 8th. Is that correct?
That's it.
Still July the 8th, yeah. So for those that are waiting for the album then, how would you say it compares to your early material? And do you think you've found the sound that you've been looking for with these latest songs then?
It 100%. Is absolute leaps and bounds above everything that we've done so far. Yep. It's levels above. I mean, obviously, you know, maybe we're being a bit biased, but it definitely feels so much stronger and shows all different sides of us compared.
Is this what you've brought to the band, Deano?
Not all of us collectively, to be honest.
Yeah. What do you think, Craig, about the sound then? Do you think you found what it's looking for? And
yeah, definitely. I mean, opinion is subjective, and we might sound biased, and you know, a lot of the time, us as a band, we don't tend to agree on everything, but we all agree that this album it pierces all over everything that we've done before. We couldn't be any happier with what we've got in store for the album to come out.
So what do you think brought this? I mean, both of you pretty much said it, a huge leap from what you've done before. What do you think gave it that huge leap?
Well, I think... Go on, Craig, you go.
After you.
Okay, thank you.
So very polite, this band. For a name with Gutlocker, you're so very polite.
we're not normally. We're on good behaviour tonight.
He's good talking.
I think it's the inclusion of our current bass player. I definitely think he has brought some magic with him. Maybe in terms of a different eyeball on everything and a different set of ears to everything that we've done previously. And again, I think it's just an amalgamation of all the different tastes of music, everybody having their own room to breathe, has just turned it into the beast that it is.
Yeah. So has Ben joined the band, a year ago or something like that, and he's brought in this huge experience into the pot?
He joined around 2017. So I think it was in 2017. We just finished recording our EP, Cry Havoc, where we had our previous bassist. He left, so we got Ben in, and it's just been going leaps and bounds ever since, because it wasn't just 85% of the band that were on track with what they wanted to do, the music that they wanted to get out. we had Ben that was pretty much the missing piece out of the puzzle. As soon as he came in, it all just came together. And I mean, apart from COVID being a bit of a dick and a bit of a barrier for all of us and all bands, we just started pushing forward from the get-go once we had him in.
So when you auditioned for a bassist, then when you saw Ben play, was it a case of he's in straight away, or did you actually make him go through a couple of auditions just to string it out a wee bit?
No, we didn't give him any initiation tests. We saw him at a gig where he was playing bass. He was really good. He really good vocals as well. Dean was very heavy on that. He was like, he's a really good singer, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I get it. But yeah, pretty much a few days after, we were just like, Ben, do you want to be in the band? He went, yeah, all right. That's how I'm smoking, by the way. And
No, that's absolutely brilliant to hear. So with the recording of the album then, To Be Alive, was there anything that you'd done differently from the previous recordings that you'll now take going forward to your future recordings?
Yeah, we go back to the same guy that recorded this album. I think this was the recording where we just got officially produced. The guy broke down every little part on everything that we did, even what to us was minor details. He'd make us go over that as much as we could, make it sound the best that it could. He really tapped into our sound and made it a lot bigger than what we were expecting. And yeah, we couldn't be any happier with what the final result was.
Yeah. Did he push you quite a lot, Craig? And were you calling him everything under the sun?
No. I think he was pushing me to record as much as possible with minimal talking from me, because he really wasn't appreciating
which was brilliant.
Fuck's sake, just record.
What about yourself, Deano? What do you think about this recording? Do you think you'll take anything going forward?
Definitely, yeah. He gave me some pointers. I'm certainly not the greatest drummer out there by any stretch, and I've never really had lessons. I've kind of been self-taught. So he definitely kind of hammered home some bits for me to kind of work on to make recording easier in the future. So I learned a lot from doing that. And just generally, yeah, like Craig said, he really pushed us, even on days where I wanted to give up because I just thought I was done. We managed to get all of the drums recorded for the whole album in 2.5 days, which I think was fantastic, and I couldn't have done it without him pushing me.
Yeah. I was going to say, so how many days did it take you to do the recording, and where did you record it? Who was producing it, sorry, and what about mastering it?
It was 14 days, wasn't it? You got it all done?
Yeah, we were there 2 weeks, front to back. 2 weeks?
Wow.
Yeah, we stayed. It was recorded by Lewis Johns at the Ranch Studios in Southampton. And part of the package that we got was they have an apartment like on the other side of the recording studio. It's on like farmland.
Yeah.
We stayed down there for the whole 2 weeks, so we were kind of living and recording together like real rock stars for the whole 2 weeks. It was brilliant.
It must have been brilliant, like because of COVID, you couldn't get together. But then now that the world's beginning to open up again, you got together for 14 days to record this album. But I'm pretty sure at the end of the 14 days, you were delighted not to see each other again. Piss off, get out of my sight.
Oh, mate,
not as much as we thought.
I don't know. I mean, it was lovely to get back to my bedroom and not listen to you snoring. So that was quite pleasant. I was like, oh, that's bliss. That's nice.
Well, you've known that for years. I can't help that, I'm afraid.
Going back to like the last 18 months, 2 years then, and because it was difficult times and things, has it made you look at the more business side of the band? Has it made you guys take on roles that you hadn't previously? How has that been for you?
To be honest,
after you.
Sorry, I was just going to say, to be honest, I think one of the things we excel at is that we've always treated the band like a business, and like any money that we get from gigs and from merch sales always goes straight back into the band account. Like we never pocket anything, and then it helps us fund all the merch, which kind of tops up, and that's what helps us pay for everything. So
yeah,
I don't think it's focused us more. I think we've just always been that way, and Yeah, basically, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say it goes 50-50. I mean, it was the passion and the hunger, because obviously we were deprived of doing what we loved doing during COVID. So we all agreed, and it was Dean that pretty much Dean got in touch with Blue Johns, because obviously he recorded Conjurer, Palm Reader, and Floyd Sturb and stuff. So he's not exactly wet behind the ears. And Dean was like, let's go to him, because we're on a level playing field with all the bands now, with what's happened with restrictions and lockdowns. Let's, if we're going to struggle to keep momentum going, we're going to have to come back swinging hard. So we decided to come as big as we could with the album. And I think that was kind of the business sense on it as well, that people won't be hearing stuff from us for a while. So we need to make it worth the wait and reel them back in. And we're hoping and we believe that will happen as soon as the album drops.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Moshville Times have already got the album, so I'm sure somebody's already picked up, and we'll certainly do a bit to promote the new Gutlocker album. I love seeing that name, by the way, Gutlocker. Brilliant name for a band. But yeah, we'll plug it on the radio as well, over on Moshville Radio. It already has been. So we'll certainly do our bit. But I was just wondering, do you guys do pretty much everything in band? So you've all got like different roles, like marketing and research and stuff like that, or do you actually have like a third party doing all that for you?
I say it's me and Ben that do a lot of the social networking on the platforms and everything.
Yeah.
I personally would, over time, I'd love to get a third party doing it, just so we can get a break from it. Because as we were talking about wanting to do it for a living, obviously we can't. We've got to work for a living as well. So trying to do that, balance that out, keep the social presence going, it does start eating away a lot of the time. I was expecting it more so or less over the last 3 to 4 months, because obviously we're doing the PR campaign for the album with Dan from DC Sound Attack. So it's pretty much, I mean, over the last 6 weeks, especially with the 2 songs that released, it's just been on the go constantly. I've literally been working, eating, sleeping, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everything, talking to promoters, getting gigs. And I'm just like, I just want a break. So I'm hoping at some point we can look to get a third party involved if we start picking things up, or either just keep things going as it is from the 8th of July.
That's why you don't have any here, because you're doing all these things. You're stressed out your box.
I can grow it. I just end up pulling it out. So it saves me money.
Good stuff. But with the band being fairly settled on the band members front then, so when constructing the album and the new material, and with all the band members having their own personal taste in music, how would you say you kept it all together? Like, for example, when negotiating what goes in and what stays out of or goes out of a song, like, is there somebody that's a huffy puffy in the band, somebody that always goes in the mood when the riff is not used or whatever?
There's not really a huffy puffy. The thing that we found out, there's one particular member that if he doesn't like something in the song, he doesn't say anything. So if the 3 of us go, yeah, that's awesome, that's banging, and there's just silence in the corner, and we're like, what do you think of it? Yeah, it's all right. And then 4 days later, we've got to play a song. I don't like this song. For fuck's sake, mate. We keep Nero on the deadpan silence, and we're like, okay.
So what you're saying is the album could have came out 2 years ago, but for this band member saying, "Oh, I don't like it now."
Potentially, yes, but it's in the best place it is.
Yeah. So what about yourself, Deano? Like, are you quite happy with everybody's music? I mean, that's what I was saying at the very beginning. There's no way that you can pigeonhole this band into one genre. So I think if you've got somebody that's in your death metal, into your metalcore, into your general metal and your power metal, and then Craig's glam metal influences, I think it comes into like Gutlocker, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's we do all get to put our bid in, and as Craig said, kind of, it almost does come down to one person's love for a riff. If he's on board, then we're all on a winner. And once he gets his juices flowing and going, then the rest of us kind of pitch in our bits after. And as Craig mentioned before, during the pandemic, we were kind of all separately coming up with ideas, although we couldn't get together to put them together. And then what with Craig being in Wales for like basically the whole of the pandemic, it was a case of the three of us, when we could get together, started building, and then we would go to Craig and say, right, this is what we've got. What do you think? What have you got that will fit with this, and what won't? So we do kind of all get our bid in, despite various things that we've said.
Yeah,
we all get to put our foot in and our own stamp on things.
So is it pretty much like a vote, or were there a couple of scraps during the recording?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, like I say, we're on good behaviour tonight, but yeah, we don't always get on so well, but most of the time we do.
Objects on the way out.
Sorry?
Kicking inanimate objects on the way out, take it out on the bin. Fucking piss me off.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've had a few of them, but we are one messed up family of brothers, and we always find a way to pull through in the end.
Good stuff. Delighted to hear that. So, Craig, we're going to talk about you for a wee second. With you being the vocalist of the band then, do you take care of all the lyrics for the music, or were there contributions from other members of the band this time around?
I wrote most of the lyrics for the album. Dean really sort of came to his own on the track Absence of Change. One of my favourite songs, actually. I was a bit taken back when he wrote the lyrics. I looked at him and I was like, are you writing this about me? Are you getting inside my head?
Is it getting a wee bit personal?
I don't know. It seems like he knows me, and he kind of takes observation inside my thoughts sometimes. Like, oh wow, he's really figuring me out. So yeah, that song I really enjoyed, because I did a little bit. I put a bit towards an absence change, just to sort of fill out on the structure on the verse and chorus, not. But a good chunk in credit where credit due, I give it to Dean. Dean wrote some fucking awesome lyrics for that song.
Thank you, sir.
But yeah, everything else I wrote by me, just coming from the place of impulsive anger and just being short-tempered, like myself. So
Dean, he's the one that starts the scraps down there.
Always. We start them quite equally, I'd say. There's equal scrappage.
No, but that's the thing, though. Like, you wrote the lyrics for one song, Deano, but you already pictured how Craig was going to sing it in your head. Was it easy or difficult to convey how you wanted him to sing it when you wrote those lyrics?
Well, to be honest, I just kind of like, I've been writing lyrics for years, and just kind of like, it's my own way of escaping. And I've got like hundreds of songs, we'll say, written, and I just happened to show this one to Skip, and he went, oh, I really, really like this. But I didn't have a vision of how he would sing it. It was just kind of, I thought these lyrics would fit with the rest of the stuff that we were doing, and I thought that Craig would get a kick out of them. So it's completely on him how they came out in the song. I just basically wrote the lyrics, and he put them where they needed to be.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's great to hear. Do you find lyrics, Craig, easy to write, or do you drown yourself in them, or do you have like notepads all over your house full of lyrics? Are you one of those type?
I've got, during the pandemic, I mean, obviously I didn't get to use my Benton platform by gigging. So I just wrote an album's worth of lyrics for the next one. I've been showing to all the guys. I don't know whether they're just trying to be nice, but they generally really digged the recent lyrics I've written, the tracks for the names as well. So as happy as I am with the result of this album, I'm already ready. I'm ready to sort of get kickstarted on album number 2 as soon as the other guys are ready. So
you've already written all the lyrics for the second album. We just don't have any music to go with them yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm planning like a year or two ahead, so I can sit my arse and do fuck all and just wait for them to put in the graphic.
So for you, Craig, albums are just like buses then? You wait ages for one then, and before you know, the second one comes along at the same time.
Yeah.
But has it been a discussion within the band? Was it always going to be an album? Because this is quite a debate I have with a number of interviews that I do. I don't know whether it's the younger generation. They're like, do a single every second month and just keep the name out there. But some of us, like the albums, were like the beginning, the middle and the end. So was it always going to be an album, or did you think of like an EP and keep an extra couple of singles?
I think it was going to be an album because the guys in the band, they knew of my personal struggles and whatnot, and they really sort of picked me up when I couldn't pick myself up. They shared their personal experiences, and with the lyrics that we put in, the music that we put down, we were pretty much dead set for it to be an album, because we were discussing particular track orders, because we thought, this could actually tell a story, just generally of human struggle, human emotion. And we thought, well, let's really expand on this rather than just condense it down to a 4-track or 5-track. Yeah. Let's make it a 10, 11 track, make it as epic as it can be. As I said earlier on, with the pandemic, all bands lost momentum. So we thought, well, if we're going to come back in, let's come back in hard with it.
Yeah. Good. Delighted to hear it, guys. Delighted to hear it. So again, we're talking about the last 18 months, 2 years then, and you're not being able to play any gigs either. When things were beginning to open up again, did you think of doing like a virtual gig, or even if it was something like in your rehearsal space, just get a couple of cameras and doing like a virtual gig? Or
yeah,
it was discussed, but
I'm waiting on you. After you, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, it was discussed, but we just kind of never really got round to it. We were just kind of so focusing on tightening up the show to be able to come back with all of the new stuff. That kind of, before we knew it, everything had kind of reopened again, and we were due to go out gigging, and it was terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'd seen a couple of, if you want to call it, low budget rehearsal like gigs, and I was like, is that really how you want to convey to your band to the audience? Like, especially for you, Craig, you just want to get on the stage and jump about, get in the crowd and kick shit out of people. But you wouldn't have been able to do that in a virtual gig. I just think it would have been alien to somebody like yourself. Dean's behind the kit anyway, so he doesn't matter where he plays. But to you, it would have been alien. You'll be like, thank you very much. And you would look out and there's not one audience member there and stuff. You would. But yeah, I've seen it work with one band in particular. Like the best one that I saw was Ingested, but they would have had like so much of a budget to do that. Whereas smaller bands, I just thought it didn't really work.
It's more of the established bands that could have pulled it off. I mean, Code Orange were all over it when they released their new album back in 2020, and they just started plugging out virtual gigs and whatnot. But it worked for them because they're signed, they had the money, like bastards, and they had all the visuals and everything. And yeah, they pulled it off. I don't think we would have pulled it off because obviously our setback would have been our finances, time, etc. But we did discuss it either way because none of us knew what the future held during the pandemic. So we did have it in the back of our mind that, if push comes to shove, if say the album launch ever came, if it was still restrictions, we'd have to do some kind of virtual album launch. Luckily, it hasn't happened. So we get to play in front of the crowd. I get to be my angry little self and throw myself about and put myself out of breath and remind myself that I'm not as young as I used to be.
I love what you did though for the video Stuck. That certainly made me laugh a good number of occasions. So you've certainly got to keep the name out there, and that's one of the things that you did with the release of that video. So fair played. But you talk about other bands being signed. Has there been any kind of interest with this album from labels, or are you just going to release it independently and just keep 100% control over it?
We're going to push some CDs out to some labels. We're going to try our luck. I mean, the worst case scenario is that they either say no, we don't hear anything from them. Worst case, we'll keep control over what we're doing because when there was normality, now there's a bit of normality coming back. We were fine managing it ourselves, doing our own DIY, going up and down the country, and then finding ourselves going across to Scotland and Wales. So
we're not going to let you in.
No? Well, too late. You already have done twice.
Here it comes.
Dean, I'll send you the link to come back on. I'm not sent him it, right? Okay. But talking about gigs then, and now the world's obviously beginning to open up. So I take it you've had a run of a few gigs already this year?
It's been a really busy year so far, and we've got lots more to come. The next 2 weekends are 2 pretty big ones for us.
You're doing a Metal to the Masses one, aren't you? Is it Hitchin you're at or something?
Yeah, and I think that'll be our fourth time as guest headliners at a Metal to the Masses gig, I think. Is that right, Craig?
Yeah. Guest headline at Metal to Masses Bloodstock, but still not been asked to play Bloodstock.
It's coming, boy. It's coming. Sophie stage will be ours. We've done New Blood. Now we need Sophie.
So so I take it you've got like gigs in the pipeline as well. Then have you got like? Are you looking to see if you can go like further afield? Like, is there a chance of like you like going to Europe or something like that, or are you just going to concentrate on doing like a UK tour or something?
If the opportunity comes up, we'd snap their hands off if we could all get the time off work. Yeah, that's like the next step really. If we get the opportunity, Europe and further afield, definitely absolute dream for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plan will be to get at least one more video done to complete our little narrative, and then hopefully get on the road and capitalise on the album and do the tour. So it may just be up and down the UK. It may be Scotland again, whether you like that or not. Maybe Wales, depending on how I feel about it. It's definitely on the cards. We're looking to tour at some point.
Yeah, good. Like if you're looking to come to like Glasgow or indeed Edinburgh, like I know a few, you've probably already got the contacts already or used the same ones that you've already used. But I mean, you've got like Craig Law, you've got Hamilton Hunter, or you've got Ivory Blacks here in Glasgow. Yep. There's great venues here in Glasgow and Edinburgh. But if you do have the time and you've got the finances as well, I would encourage you to go further north. Places like Aberdeen and Inverness are screaming for metal gigs. So you're more or less guaranteed to get a good crowd when you go up there. And something that I've noticed in Glasgow as well, Glasgow could be a wee bit fickle. Like you might play like 30 to 50 people. But since the lockdowns and everything like that, the crowds are coming back, well and truly coming back. So people are happy to be at gigs again. And I think that shows in Bloodstock as well, when foreign bands weren't able to play. And it was all UK bands. It shows you how strong the UK metal scene is, and people are supporting the underground again. So long may that continue.
I think it's in line with the pandemic. It's given the surge of people coming back into gigs, because it's not just the bands that have been hungry for it. It's been the promoters that have been hungry to keep it going. It's the music lovers in general. Yeah. Just that I think everyone in the scene, spectators, promoters, bands, everyone's been hungry to do it. So I think it's kind of brought us closer in and just bringing in more people. So there's a plus about that.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll let you take them then, Craig.
Right, thanks very much for that, guys. So talking about the gigs then, have you got an idea of when they are and where they're going to be?
June's going to be a busy one for next weekend. So we're doing the 19th. We're playing it at, as Dean said, at Hitchin. We're going to do our guest headliner at Metal to Masses. 24th June, I'm really looking forward to, because we're going to do the Uprising in Leicester. It's going to be our first time playing there. So a big shout out to Simon Yarwood getting us in that one. Hartlepool, that's going to be a messy one because we're going to be playing alongside Party Cannon. So we're going to have to ensure that we behave the night before, so we're ready to keep it going for the next day. And then
getting you to do exercises and everything like that. They'll be getting you to do bench presses and everything during their set.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, I'll be out back somewhere.
Party Cannon, obviously, they come from Fife, Dunfermline, and they're creating a bit of a noise with their latest album, so they're doing well. They've just been over in America and all the rest of it, so that'll be I'm sure that's going to be a very busy gig, so a bit messy, as you say. But yeah, cool. So certainly look out for further announcements, like especially if you do come up. I'll always make sure that I'm doing something that weekend. No, I will be there.
You can watch Craig's hair for him.
Yeah. So now that you can get together as a band, then where do you rehearse? How often do you get together and rehearse? Especially now that you're going to be playing quite a few gigs. Are you getting together like 2 or 3 times a week?
Just every Monday night. A place called Silent Hill Recording Studios in Guildford. But yeah, religiously every Monday night.
Yeah. So is that specifically your premises, or do you share it with other band members as well?
Oh no, it's just a big rehearsal studio, and we just turn up. So I said recording studio, but I meant rehearsal studio. This is why I sit in the back and hide behind things, and they don't let me talk often.
No, good stuff. But I also know that you guys aren't shy when it comes to doing music videos. So who's the creative one amongst you? Because I do like watching the videos and they are quite funny as well, especially the one To Be Alive, even though it's got a serious message.
I think on SFS and To Be Alive, we already sort of put our ideas together for that one. The Groundhog Day.
You came up with a concept for that, no, really? That was your concept, sir.
Yeah, because I wanted to save us money because I'm a tight ass. So I thought if I do a concept and try and film 2 videos in one, we can save a bit of dollar. But yeah, no, the whole idea of the Groundhog Day experience, just doing a narrative about one guy and just delving a bit deeper into his head and sort of demonstrating that he's going a bit crazy. Pretty much a lot of it was my idea. To Be Alive, it was everyone that came on that on how we wanted to execute it with particular images and whatnot. Yeah. That was probably the more difficult one because it was an idea about what kind of visuals we wanted to get across. So it was kind of hard to work out the duration on what we wanted to do to sort of go prolong throughout the duration of that particular track. I think we had to film it the second time because the first time it didn't sit so well with us because we did a lot of it on the fly. I'm like, Jesus, we haven't actually planned this one out as much. Yeah. Did it the second time with more of a solid idea, bullet pointed it down on what parts we wanted to do, particular shots, put that in. That was all done the day. We had a few shots from the draft video that we did, threw that in, and then that just all came together really nicely. So yeah, we're pretty much happy with the final result. As said, when you said how do we feel with the 2 singles coming out, we're relieved because there was a lot of legwork that went in. So we were glad that we managed to get it done.
Yeah. I must admit, I was worried at the end of the video when he was about to walk. Well, he poured a petrol tank over himself and then you had the match there and you're like, what am I going to be watching here? But thankfully he woke up. But yeah, it was a very, very cool video. So who puts it all together then? Who does all the editing for you?
It was Jack McGuire from All Doors Production. He actually did our first video, Bit of Memory, from our Cry Havoc EP. So we went back to him again. He just loves the shit that we come up with because it's just random. So he's all over it. We're definitely going to get. Yeah, he gets us. He's a bit tapped in the head like we are. So he
knows we like the crazy and he knows how to portray it.
Yeah.
No, he's done a good job. Done a very, very good job. So. So I was actually going to ask, like, what's next for Gutlocker then? Apart from the album, then you get any further releases? I think you mentioned another single. Are you going to let us guess what that's going to be, or are we going to have a wee exclusive?
I think.
What do you think?
I
won't
take offence.
The idea that I have is I want to sort of mislead people. I want to give off the impression that we're doing your generic serious band video where we're playing in a warehouse, we're all wearing black clothing and we're looking serious, and then around 3 minutes in we want everyone to go, oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, so, yeah. Bring it. I'm looking forward to it. But just got a wee question that I normally ask bands. Before the internet, then magazines and fanzines were the places to find out about new bands and trends, but now publications have been replaced with thousands of websites catering for all genres. So do you think that some of the passion's been lost, or do you think the internet's been a good thing for music and a good thing for Gutlocker, for example?
I think it's been a good thing for music in general, because it really emphasizes how alive the scene really is and how many bands are in the scene. It's so much easier to get. I mean, when you're a music nut and you want to try and find out new bands and whatnot, all you have to do nowadays is just type in something on a search engine and there you go, you find something. Although it does take away from the magic, I appreciate the days where you'd buy a little Kerrang magazine or Metal Hammer CD and you have a compilation CD and you don't know what's going to come along and you get a few treats going, oh, what's this? Yeah. So it's taken a bit of the magic from that, but I think that's just me being a bit of an old hermit now. I think it helps out for a lot of bands, but it gives incentive to sort of really be on point with what you're doing and keep momentum going.
Yeah,
because you've got so many other bands in the scene that are on the same track same tension, same outcome, try and sort of get the name out as much as they can. For the dream that we all have in common, which is hopefully do it for a living one day.
Yeah,
that's a big if that will ever happen. It's a bit harder now, not being in the 90s, trying to do it.
Certainly is. Thank you very much for that, Craig. What about yourself, Deano?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything that Skip said. I think I worry that a little bit of magic has been lost, as in the old days, if you wanted to see a live band, then you had to get off your arse and go out and find one, whereas now I worry that it can encourage people to go, well, I want to see this band, but so I'm just going to look them up on YouTube. So it's got its pros and its cons. I mean, I'm the oldest one of the band, so I am granddad and I live in the past. Hence why I know nothing about technology. Shut it. And so I like the old days, to be honest. You know, and exactly like Craig said, when you used to pick up Kerrang or Metal Hammer and you used to get the disc, and you used to be like, oh, I have no idea who any of these bands are, and you can't wait to listen to them and kind of discover it like for the first time. Whereas now, exactly like you said, you know, now you just type a couple of buttons and you know everything about that band within seconds.
Absolutely. I mean, it must be absolutely brilliant to look at, I don't know, your own Bandcamp or Spotify, whatever you've got, and you can look at the analytics of it all, and you've got fans in Brazil and Peru and the Philippines and stuff like that. It must be amazing to see things like that.
It is. We're actually very big in Chile. We got a report from Spotify. Oh no, so random. So that's going to be our first world tour. But yeah, apparently we're most listened to on Spotify in Chile about a year ago.
Yeah,
that's
just mind blowing.
You probably heard the Spotify for Artists app, just where fans get to sort of check out their followers and streams. And yeah, there was one day where I think we had 50 or 20 people here and there, and there was 700 people listening to us in Chile. And we're going, what the fuck's going on over there?
How did that happen?
Nah, that's absolutely brilliant. But you wouldn't have known that years and years ago. I definitely think it's a double-edged sword. I mean, I remember I loved doing you would send a pound note, and that shows you how long ago it was. You would send a pound note in an envelope to you guys, and a couple of days later, I would get a demo tape, and I would listen to it, and I was like, don't know if I like it. But because I've invested in it, I would listen to it again and again and give it a fair chance. But now, as you talked about Spotify and Bandcamp, you can listen to a song for 10 seconds and go, oh, no, that's shit, and instantly dismiss the band because you know that there's 100 other bands doing that same kind of style, and you'll listen to them. So, I mean, I try and do my bit. Like, I still like getting signed CDs, but you guys don't make any money from CDs anymore. I mean, I know record labels, they do production runs of like 300, you know, and that's all it's ever going to be. But you guys just have to diversify now and just get out there on the road and sell merch. That's where you get your income for the band. So it's definitely a hell of a lot harder. But if you don't adapt and change to the times, then you'll fall behind.
We're always trying to think of new ways, as I'm sure a lot of bands do, but we're always in discussion and having ideas about, you know, what can we do that's going to make us stand out from the next 100 bands? Because exactly like Craig said, you know, internet is it's good and it's bad for the music business, but it certainly does make us have to work harder now, which is a good thing. But you've got to look at ways of making yourself stand out from, like say, all of the other bands that are waiting in the wings.
Yeah. Well, maybe, Craig, you can get your dream of this being your day job. You just need to move to Chile and just perform out in Chile for the rest of your days.
It'd fit right in, I'm sure.
I might have to do one of my viral videos where I pretend to sniff chloroform and headbutt a cupboard. I mean, that went viral, so I could probably do that and tag Gutlocker or something. I'll do a jackass maneuver. So
that's excellent. I've only got one last question for you, but this will probably take up the next 40 minutes, and it's really like the instruments that you used for the recording of To Be Alive. Then on you go, Deano. We'll start off with you then, since you actually use an instrument. What's your setup?
Quite simple. Mapex drums for the toms and the floor toms. I had 3 rack toms, 2 floor toms. They were mine. Lewis Johns said that he had the perfect sounding bass drum. So we used a Yamaha bass drum. I used 3 different snares, 2 of which were mine, 1 of which was his, and all Sabian cymbals. Simple.
So why the different snares then? Did you do that on purpose then? You wanted the songs to sound different?
Yeah, it was something that I kind of, this little gut feeling that I had leading up to recording the album. I mean, I've got quite a snare connection anyway. I'm a little bit nerdy like that. My main go-to is a huge Great 14 by 8 Vinnie Paul special. It's got the snakeskin covering and everything. And I've had that for about 14, 15 years now. And so all bar 3 songs were used with that snare. But 2 of the songs I just wanted to do something a bit different. And so I went for a much smaller Chris Adler Lamb of God snare. It's got a real pop to it. Not everyone's cup of tea, but it was definitely a purposeful maneuver to just try out different snare sounds, just to give the album a bit more flavour. And then the last song on the album, our most epic one, it's like 13 minutes long, and no one is going to expect what's coming. It's not what people would expect from us at all. We're dead excited to get it out. Lewis recommended this beautiful brass snare that he had, and I'd never used a brass snare, but the sound of it was just out of this world, and it was exactly the sound we were looking for that song.
So since we've lost Craig for a wee second, then we'll concentrate on this snare sound. Oh, there he's back.
Hey.
He's flicked up Ben's answer on Messenger and chuckling about the snare sound, because I don't care what anyone says. I thought it sounded awesome, all of it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like Deano, did you tune the snare and then you played it a couple of times and the guys were like, nah, that's it. Nah, you need to change that? Or were the guys saying that sounds tight as fuck? Let's go with that.
Yeah, they were all on board with it. I think they all looked a bit weirded out when I said I want to use different snare drums. I was like, huh? And I was like, trust me, it's going to work. And I think they'll all agree that it was worth the gamble.
So what was it about the 2 songs that you used, the different snare in particular? Were they heavier songs or were they light, softer songs, and they required that different sound?
They were, in my mind, they were completely set apart from like the rest of the songs that I was using my usual snare for. The first one, Out of Sight, it's almost like a punk song. Craig might slap me next time I see him for saying that. But it's probably, it's got a real punky vibe to it. And so it just felt like it needed a much higher pitched snare because it's one of our quicker songs. And the other song, because it's a song played in 4/4, but it sounds like it's 3/4, and so again that same snare just kind of really stood out at the right parts.
Yeah. Good. Thanks very much for that, Deano. You're not escaping this, Craig. With you being the vocalist of the band, then have you went through a range of mics until you found a microphone that you're happy with the sound with, or are you just one of those guys, give me an SM58 and I'll fucking sing into it?
Yeah, it's pretty much that. Lewis plugged one microphone and he went, shut the fuck up, you're going to use that. And I went, okay.
It was that simple.
Is that simple? So have you even experimented with different sounds, different mics?
Nope. No, I just went for that. I listened to the first take on Sink Swim and there was an awkward silence. And I thought, oh shit. And Lou went, yeah, that sounds fucking banging. And I listened to one, oh, actually, it sounds pretty good. And he went, you want to use that one? Yep. And that was that.
That was it. Excellent. Well, listen, guys, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Like I say, we'll do a bit here at Moshville Times. We'll also do a bit here at Moshville Radio behind me. We'll certainly be playing Gutlocker. So, and we'll look forward to promoting the album as much as we can. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I wish you guys the best of success. And see you up here in Glasgow. If you dare. If you dare.
We dare.
I will see you.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. Thanks very much, guys.